What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Too Pop to Handle. I am your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend. And as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. You guys are getting kind of like a live reaction from me tonight because like 10 or 15 minutes ago, right before I was getting ready to sit down and record, I saw a video that left me speechless. And like, it takes a lot to leave me speechless, as many podcast hosts would say. Like, if you're hosting a podcast, it is very rare for you to be speechless. However, seeing Lainey post a video to the audio of Malibu Nights with the caption, "Shout out Dua Lipa for real," in the year 2026, speechless. I had not a thing to say other than this is crazy, because like, if you know, you know, like the lore behind Paul Klein and Dua Lipa and the Malibu Nights album and like just that whole era, like the 2018 Dua Lipa, Lainey, whatever era, it was such a like niche part of pop culture. But like, if you were in it, you were in it. And like, also Malibu Nights by Lainey is just such an incredible album. And I know that they are controversial and canceled, and I don't really listen to Lainey outside of Malibu Nights, and I honestly haven't listened to that album in a very long time, probably because when I was listening to it, I was really depressed and like probably a triggering album to listen to. You know, 2018 was a dark time. But anyway, it's seeing them fully government name Dua Lipa in the caption of this video in the year 2026, I was truly gagged. Like I said, not many things leave me speechless, but that's fucking crazy. And like, just not something I expected to see on my For You page this week. And actually, speaking of things on my For You page this week, I have been so tapped in to this whole saga. If you have seen this, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if not, buckle up, because I am so intrigued. So there's this woman on TikTok, and she was like out with her niece or something. And they were just like chatting about, I guess, her college life and how she grew up, or like her post-grad. And she mentioned that she lived in a loft with 3 men. She was a kindergarten teacher and like whatever, all this stuff. And her niece immediately stops and goes, "You're New Girl. Like, they based Jess, Zooey Deschanel's character from New Girl, off of you." And she was like, "No way. Like, what are you talking about?" And then she started like reading into it more. And she went to school with the creator, writer of New Girl. They were 2 years apart, I believe. The writer was friends with her roommates in the loft at the time, but she wasn't friends with them until after the girl that New Girl, Jess, is based off of, moved out. So like, they wouldn't have crossed paths for her to know her and like for that to be in her orbit. But like, the comparisons between her life and Jess's life are so uncanny. And like, there's even like a whole plot line about like, she was the girl, who Megan Fox played, who would like sleep on the couch after like a drunken night or whatever, like never really sexual or anything, but like would sleep on the couch, crash on the couch all the time. So people are like, oh my God, the writer is her, and like, you are Jess. And they were like tying all these people together. And the girl making these TikToks is like in denial about it. But it's gotta be. Like, there's no way, you can't convince me otherwise that show is not based on her, just given the information. Even like the picture she's posting, she's wearing these like quirky glasses and these like polka dot dresses, playing the ukulele to her kindergarten class. Like, there is no doubt in my mind that the creator of New Girl wrote this show about this woman, and now we're finding out about it all these years later. Like, I truly gagged. Like, I need more updates on this. I check her account every single day for new videos. And like, it is so fascinating to me that like, this never came up before. Like, this was never something that like crossed her mind, or she thought it was a weird coincidence. Like, I'm genuinely so fascinated in this, because I love New Girl, like one of my favorite shows, honestly. So like, seeing this unfold now, all these years later, kind of crazy. I don't know if anybody else is on that side of TikTok. I feel like my coworkers and I always joke that like, we are all on such different sides of the internet, and like, there really is, like, the For You page truly is made for you. It is so niche and specific that like, something that comes across my desk might never come across yours, and something that comes across your desk will never come across mine. Yet there's endless amount of content. And like, if I think about it too long, I will probably spiral. And like, I definitely have had some like edible induced spiral moments where I'm like, the internet is so large, and like, there's just so many things that like freak me out about it. But like, nevertheless, we are here. We have a very packed show for you to listen to on the internet this week. There is so much that has gone on. Weekend 2 of Coachella, fucking insane. We have a very mild update from Alix Earle, Alex Cooper. So much music that came out last week. There is so much to chat about. So let's get into the show and stop talking about my For You page and kick things off the way that we always do with our Drew releases, our new music releases from last week, and our new releases coming up this week. And like I was saying last week, we had so much music that came out last Friday, like an ungodly amount of music. We had Olivia Rodrigo, Madonna, Demi Lovato, Adele, Casey Musgraves, Zara Larsson and Tyla, Anne Hathaway releasing the Mother Mary soundtrack. Like there was so much music to come out last week, and I am overwhelmed. There's some weeks where there's no music, and then there's some weeks where there's so much music I like don't know what to do with myself. This is the week where I do not know what to do with myself. Let's kick it off incredibly strong with Olivia Rodrigo's comeback single, Drop Dead. I'm obsessed. I love this single. I think it is so strong. Olivia Rodrigo, she really never misses with her lead singles. Like looking at all of her previous albums and the lead singles, or really just all of her singles and her albums. Like let's be real, Olivia Rodrigo does not miss when it comes to her discography. Like I don't think she has a bad song, truly. There's songs that I listen to maybe less, but there's not a song where I'm like, that's objectively a bad song. She's just so good at what she does. And this single, it's just so good. We knew she was going to kind of veer into a new sound and era and aesthetic kind of vibes. And she's not veering, I feel like, too much off the beaten path, but this definitely is a different direction for her, which I think is necessary. You know, she did give us Sour and Guts that were kind of not the same sound, but they were almost like sister-ish albums. They have a very similar vibe where like they seem cohesive together. So she's ditching the 4-letter album titles. She's ditching the color purple in her rollout, and she is fully going into this new era. And I, for one, am so sad. I love the way it kind of starts really slow and then the tempo picks up, and she's like, I mean, the video alone, she's like running through the Palace of Versailles, and like it just, there's such a fun aesthetic and like vibe with this song, which I hate to use the word vibe because it feels so low brow, but it's like, it kind of is just like the vibe of the song. I don't know. I love it. I think she sounds great. I think the video was fantastic. If this is the sound and direction we're going to for the entire album, I was already 1 foot in. I am 2 feet in, sitting on the ground, buckled in, ready for, because I cannot wait for the rest of this album. This is a knockout comeback single for Olivia. Then next up, we had I don't know if I would call it a comeback single because she hasn't really gone anywhere, but we did have a single from Madonna, which we were chatting about last week, wondering if she would release a single or not. She announced Confessions Part 2, which I cannot wait for. And lo and behold, we did end up getting a new single from Madonna called I Feel So Free. Now, I think it's so cool because she released this to radio first for the first 24 hours. So you could only hear it on, I want to say it was iHeartRadio's Pride station, and they would play it like every, I think like on the hour or so, I don't know, but just like the idea of her doing such a unique rollout for this is so much fun. And like, you know, obviously I was getting, the internet really was testing my luck this week. Like I felt like everything I was posting on Threads or on TikTok, like everybody had something to say. And I was like, how about we all just shut up? Like it was a lot. But I said, like, I'm obsessed with Madonna doing this. I think it's so unique and so fun. Like in a world where everybody seems to copy and paste the exact same album rollout, I love that Madonna's doing something so unique. And people were like, this is so stupid. Nobody listens to the radio anymore, blah, blah, blah. Why wouldn't she do it on street? Like, that's the point. Like, that's literally the point of it. She's Madonna. She can do whatever the fuck she wants. But that being said, the single is great. I mean, I am so stoked for Confessions Part 2. Like, Confessions on a Dance Floor is truly a pop Bible by definition. Like, it is such a fantastic album. And the fact that we're getting a continuation of it 21 years later is so insane to me. And I cannot wait to see what she brings over from the first album. And this literally samples I Feel Love by Donna Summer, which is like, nobody does it like Donna Summer, you know, like it is true. She is truly like the founding mother of disco, and the fact that like she's sampling it on this album just is already setting the scene for a truly fantastic album. And I cannot believe we have not had one of those TikTok DJs make a remix of I Feel So Free, I Feel Love, and Summer Renaissance. It is literally right there. Like, why has this not happened yet? I cannot wait to be at the gay club this summer and hear those 3 songs mashed up. I promise you, my soul will leave my body. loving this release. I am so stoked for this album. It comes out in July. So we have some time for this to come out, but I cannot wait. More on Madonna in just a little bit, as I'm sure you can imagine. We also got a new single from Demi Lovato called Low Rise Jeans. And not to toot my own horn, but she did tell me about this single coming out when I interviewed her a couple weeks ago for MTV. Not specifically this single, but she did tell me she'd be releasing new music once the tour started. So you guys are welcome for the exclusive. However, I do have to apologize because I hate this song. I think this song is so bad. Like, I really love this album. It's Not That Deep, I believe it's called. Like, I think it's such a good album. It's so much fun. And I had my thoughts about like it being inauthentic to Demi, and I can put those thoughts aside to appreciate good music because I do think the album is really strong. This single, I just think we could have done without it. Like, I don't think we needed this. I don't think it's adding anything to her discography. It feels like a top 4 RuPaul's Drag Race contestant song that is the one who gets sent home and doesn't make it to the top 3. Like, not in the way that Runway by Lady Gaga and Doechii sounds like a RuPaul song, but this sounds like a RuPaul's Drag Race contestant song in which they get eliminated for their verse. Like, it feels a little too try hard. I don't think this feels authentic to Demi at all. She's singing about like her G-string hanging out of her jeans and stuff. And like, Demi Lovato isn't at the club with her G-string hanging out. She literally just released a cookbook and is like a married woman at home being a homemaker in Texas. Like, nothing about this era has felt authentic. And like I said, I've been able to push it to the side because as a whole, the album was really, really strong. But then we get this single that she's clearly continuing this like party girl aesthetic and era. And I was saying this last week with her tour kicking off, it just seemed like she wasn't as into it. And again, maybe it was opening night jitters. I don't know. I haven't really seen many videos since then, but like she seems like she's like cosplaying this like cool party girl. And that's just like not who she is anymore. So it just feels, I don't know. It's just like, it's going back to this idea of like this inauthenticness to Demi. And like, this is no dig to her. It's no like, I think she's a bad person. Like, it's nothing about her as a person. It's just from like a business and music standpoint, I don't get what she's trying to do. It's like, just continue to make ballads and like maybe do some more rock stuff because like that's really where you soar. And I think that's what feels most authentic to Demi. Like, she doesn't need to jump on every single trend, if that makes sense. I don't know. This song was just, it was a miss to me. I was listening to it and I was like, what is this? Like, what is the purpose of this single? I don't think it's serving anything to her discography. But anyway, enough about that track. Moving on to Adele, Demi's tour mate on this tour. This is what I think Demi Lovato is trying to be, what Adele is giving us, especially with this new lead single from her upcoming album. It's not announced yet, but it is confirmed to be the lead single from her next project, KGB. It's insane. It is exactly what I want from Adele. The production is sick. It's exciting. It's fun. You never know where it's going to take you. It sounds like it should be played in a basement warehouse, which is the exact aesthetic that Adele has always been giving us with her EP, with her performances, with everything. This is exactly what I want from Adele, and I'm obsessed. I've been loving her since her EP came out. I think she is so talented and just really has such a cool it girl factor. And like, I think she's going to be a huge name over the next couple of months into like the year. And I cannot wait for Adele World Domination. KGB, killer lead single. I am obsessed. And I fear it will end up in my like Apple Music Replay top 10 probably because I cannot stop playing it. It is so good. Next up, we had a new release from Casey Musgraves, who she performed at Coachella this weekend, which we'll get to, but she also released the title track to her upcoming album, Middle of Nowhere, and I like it. It didn't like blow my pants off. It wasn't like insane. I think Dry Spell was the stronger single, but I do like this, and I think when you look back at Casey's opening tracks of her albums, they do always the scene for the rest of the album. So when I think of that and look at her other albums in that landscape, I look at this kind of as like the prologue to the album. So I'm very excited to see where the rest of the album takes us. That comes out, I think, next Friday, right? May 1st, I want to say it comes out. Yeah, May 1st it comes out. So very exciting release coming up next week. But yeah, I liked it. I wasn't like freaking out, it wasn't like insane, but I think for what an opening track needs to do for a Casey Musgraves album, I think it is checking all the boxes. And then we had a very exciting collab drop last Friday as well. Zara Larsson and Tyla releasing She Did It Again. And it feels like an early 2000s release. Like, this feels like It feels like when Beyonce and Shakira teamed up for Beautiful Liar. It just feels like when the girls used to collab and like have fun with it. This doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like their labels are forcing them to do it. It feels authentic. It fits both of their aesthetics and their sounds and everything they're doing right now. I think this was a genius collab, a perfect mix for the two of them. And like as Zara's getting ready to drop her remix album and as Tyla's gearing up to drop her album, like this just felt, it came at the right time. It hit the sound perfectly. This was a knockout collab for the two of them. Absolutely loving this. And then finally, we had the Mother Mary soundtrack, which I feel like I've talked about Mother Mary so much the last 3 weeks. So I'll keep this brief. Loving this album. I think it's just so good. Like it was Charli XCX and Jack Antonoff and FKA Twigs. So we knew it was going to be good. The production's going to be great. It's a solid movie soundtrack. And it's not even that it doesn't necessarily feel, not to be Harry Styles, but like this is a soundtrack that feels like a soundtrack, you know, like it doesn't feel like that. It feels like an actual album for a pop star. Holy Spirit, the opening track on the album, I'm obsessed. It was literally going from KGB to Holy Spirit and then to Gas Station by Slater. Gas Station by Slater has slowly crept up into like one of my favorite songs of the year. And I can't take it off repeat. It's literally been KGB, Slater, Gas Station, and then Holy Spirit by Anne Hathaway the last week. Like it's all I've been listening to. Really, really just loving Mother Mary still. It comes out in theaters nationwide this Friday, so go see it. Listen to this album. It's not gonna change your life. It's not, the most incredible music you will ever hear, but it's very Charli Jack coded. Like if you like what Charli does with her, production, if you like what Jack does with his production, this is a really beautiful marriage of the two of their talents. And I mean, it's Anne Hathaway singing. What more could you ask for? Loving this release. Really strong release week, actually. Like other than the Demi, of it all, but like everybody else really killing it with these releases. We're ramping up for some killer albums that come out this year and I cannot wait. But that wraps up our releases from last week. And coming up this week, I only have one thing on my radar. It actually drops today. If you're listening to this, the day that I released it, April 22nd. Otherwise, it is just out to the world regardless. But Kim Petras is dropping a new single called Need for Speed. I feel like there's a lot riding on this Kim Petras era. She was very vocal about her record label kind of holding her hostage and like not allowing her to release her music the way that she wants. And she like made the music video for some of her music and it never came out. And there's a lot of tension, I feel like, with this release and with this next era for Kim Petras. So I'm excited to hear it. I typically always love a Kim Petras release. So very excited to see what she has up her sleeve. But that's the only thing on my radar for this week. So we will chat about that next week. And yeah, those are our Drew releases. So that means it is time to jump into some pop culture news, some pop culture moments of the week that were just too pop to handle. But before we get into that, you guys know I always love to take this time to remind you that if at any point during the show you are loving what you were hearing, do not be shy. Go ahead, leave me a 5-star rating, 5-star review. If you're watching on YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe, drop a comment. Seriously, it is the best way to help support the show, and it really does mean the world to me. But of course, I need to give you a show to find out if you are loving what you were hearing first. So let's kick the show off, kind of piggybacking off of last week's episode. I have 2 follow-ups from last week's stories. The first one being Coachella Weekend 2. Now, if you listened last week, you might remember when I said I won't talk much about Coachella Weekend 2 because I don't think anything really is going to happen. I'll mention if things do, but I don't think it's going to be much. Oh, was I wrong? Oh, was I wrong? Because what was in the air Coachella Weekend 2? Like, I don't know what these artists were doing behind the scenes, but like, did they all just agree to save all of their best special guests for Weekend 2 and like treat Weekend 1 like a dress rehearsal? And no offense to the Weekend 1 girls. I mean, obviously I wasn't at Coachella either weekend, so like what I say doesn't, but it doesn't stop me in the past. If I went to Weekend 1 and then didn't go to Weekend 2, I would be hella pissed. Like Weekend 2, at least to me, and I think a lot of people agree, Weekend 2, they're taking it. It was crazy. Like I was truly getting whiplash from the amount of special guests. And not to say that like Weekend 1 didn't have a lot of special guests, but like Weekend 2, kicking it off with Sabrina Carpenter bringing out Madonna. Kicking it off with Sabrina Carpenter bringing out Madonna. Like, can we just, like, it's just insane. Like the transition into it, her going, have you ever tried this one? And then hearing Vogue start playing, like, it's actually played in my mind so many times that I just cannot get over how iconic it was. And there were rumors that Madonna was going to come out. There were rumors that Madonna and Sabrina have a song together on Confessions Part 2. And it does appear that they do because they did perform a new song. So I'm loving everything about this. I think it is such a huge moment, not just for Sabrina's career, but just for pop culture. Like, this is what Too Pop to Handle is all about. Madonna coming out as Sabrina Carpenter's Coachella set is truly monumental. And like, Madonna even posted that she performed at Coachella, I think it was 2005, 2006, when Confessions was coming out the first time. And now she's performing again all these years later to promote the second album with really like one of the biggest pop stars, if not the biggest pop star who's active right now, of course. Yeah, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, they take that title, but like they're not releasing right now. But like Sabrina is actively, really hasn't stopped working since 2022, I feel like. So like Sabrina really is at the top of the game right now. And for Madonna to come out with her and give her, not even that she needs a stamp of approval, but like just to like have that moment with her, it was insane. It was iconic. I do have to bitch for a second because like the amount of people on the internet saying, oh, I didn't realize Madonna was such a big deal. Like, we need to open the schools because what do you mean you didn't realize Madonna was such a big deal? Did your parents not raise you right? Like, did you not learn the fundamentals of pop music growing up like I did? Like, I just was like, the amount of people who were saying like, oh, I didn't think Madonna was that big of a name to come out. Like, I genuinely was shocked. And like, unfortunately, it was not satire. So like, some of you guys need to do your homework and some of you guys need to like brush up on history and like learn where this shit came from. Because like, without Madonna, I can't even get into it, but like, it was wild the amount of young folk who were sitting on the internet this week saying like, I didn't think Madonna was that big of a deal. Like, whoa, why is everyone freaking out about it? Please open a pop culture textbook and like brush up on some knowledge because like, how fucking dare you? Another special guest that absolutely floored me was Olivia Rodrigo coming out during Addison Rae's set. Like, this is so insanely important to me for so many different reasons. You guys already know how much I love Addison Rae. So like her having Olivia come out with her and like not only performing headphones on for the 1 year anniversary of the song, but then Olivia doing the Drop Dead live debut at Addison's set. This is so major. And like, people have a lot to say online because people always have a lot to say when it's Addison Rae. And it's just like, she was performing at the main stage of Coachella. Why would Olivia not go out with her? Like, Olivia literally put headphones on her karaoke playlist for the release of Drop Dead. This made so much sense. And then there's people online who are like, Olivia should have came out with Sabrina. It would have been the biggest news story. No, that would not be a shock. It would not be surprising. It's expected. Like, Olivia Rodrigo and Sabrina Carpenter, their lore goes deep and they've spoken about each other in interviews. They said that they are fine. And I truly do believe that. I think, you can't cry over Joshua Bassett for this many years. They are both moved on. They've both had their own things going on. I think they truly are fine, but there's no need for the two of them to collab, truly. Like, I just don't think it's that necessary. I'm in sense of like performing together. If they dropped a song, sure, great. But like performing together to me, it's like, yeah, that's kind of expected. Like, why wouldn't they do that? It would just be like, A, it would be like 3 years too late. And B, it would be like, oh my God, yeah, duh, of course they're performing together. They're literally like they're at the similar level in their careers, So it just is like, I think Olivia coming out at Addison packed so much more of a punch because it was so out of left field. Like, we didn't even know Olivia was going to come out at Coachella, but like everybody was saying if she was to come out, it would be at Sabrina because it was the obvious choice, which that's not fun. The obvious choice is never fun. Do something new, do something original. And coming out during Addison Rae was truly on nobody's bingo card. And I absolutely loved it. I ate every single second up. Justin Bieber definitely stepped it up for Weekend Two. Let's just say that. You guys know I was saying a lot last week about how I didn't love his performance. If the Beliebers loved it, I'm fine with it. I still stand by that. But he took some notes and stepped it up for Weekend Two, I will say. The biggest thing for me, Billie Eilish being the One Less Lonely Girl. I have never felt like the internet is more united in my life. Like the internet has never been more agreed upon one thing than being happy for Billie Eilish being Justin Bieber's One Less Lonely Girl. That was a tongue twister. But like the layers to Billie being the One Less Lonely Girl, she has always been a huge Justin fan. There's videos of her with her room plastered with Justin Bieber posters talking about him in interviews in her first album cycle. Like when they met at Coachella in 2019, that video lived rent free in my mind. And now I have a video of them doing One Less Lonely Girl together to live rent free in my mind again. Like it is everything to me. I'm so happy for Billie. Like it was the cutest video. And I also never want to hear anybody say Hailey Bieber is a mean girl ever again, because the way that she was pushing Billie up on stage, cheering for her, clapping for her, holding her after she cried, like I don't care. Hailey Bieber is not a mean girl and you cannot convince me otherwise. I am truly over the moon for Billie Eilish. This was so incredible. He also brought out SZA, Sexy Red, Big Sean, just really stepped it up with the guests, with the performances, like even going into the crowd. I just feel like I feel like weekend one, he needed to like find his groove again. And then weekend two, he was like, oh bitch, I'm Justin fucking Bieber. Hear me roar. And then the final set that we'll chat about, final special guest, and then we'll talk about Casey Musgraves. Pink Pantheress, we were talking about it last week, how she brought out Tyreek Withers, and I was curious if he was going to come out again. He did come out again, and honestly, I cannot blame her, because if I could have Tyreek Withers 2 weekends in a row, I would do it too. But it was her birthday, the day that she performed. It was so just fun. They were all celebrating. Zara Larsson came out and performed Midnight Sun, and then she announced the Girls Trip remix album, which is super exciting. Manon came out, which if you've been following the Cat's Eye drama of it all, you know that this is huge, that Manon came out on Pink Pantheress' set, during Pink Pantheress' set, and was nowhere to be seen during Cat's Eye set. Like that is just, that's not the biggest indicator that Manon is out of Cat's Eye. I don't know what is. Like, I'm so sorry to the Cat's Eye girls out there if you're holding on to Manon coming back. I don't think she's coming back. Like, baby, there is no plane. I think this was a loud message to be sent out to everybody and to Hive and to Cat's Eye to be like, I am not back in this group ever. The hiatus, it's done. But just like cool to see her on stage at Coachella, because it's been such a dream for her. So thank you, Pink Pantheress, for at least letting her step foot on the stage. She had Meg Stalter on stage dressed up as Minnie Mouse, which if you're chronically online and you know the whole bit between Minnie Mouse and Pink Pantheress, iconic. And then she also had Janelle Monáe come out. Like she really had guest after guest after guest, and I'm forgetting some. There was other people who came out too. Chase Infinity came out. One of the guys from ATEEZ came out. Like she really had stacked people, not even performing, just like on stage with her celebrating her birthday, and it just seemed so fun, like a fun set to be at. I love Pink Pantheress, so love to see that she had a fun celebratory birthday. Very excited that she's remixing Midnight Sun for Zara Larsson. Obviously, Stateside was huge, so the remix between the two of them I'm talking about. So the fact that we're getting another single with Zara and Pink Pantheress, very stoked for that. Just stoked for this Zara Larsson remix album to begin with, but that's not what we're here to chat about. And then finally, Weekend Two, continuing to remain superior, Casey Musgraves. Like her doing a surprise set, her coming out on a horse, like I am so excited for this new Casey Musgraves era, and this just lit a fire underneath me that I needed to like get me even more stoked for this album, which I didn't think was possible. Just all in all, like Weekend Two, like I said, I'm so sorry, but Weekend Two, they're taking it. This was a killer weekend, and now Coachella is behind us. We have Stagecoach this weekend. Not really my vibe. I'm probably not going to talk about it, but festival season is upon us. Gutball's coming up. Lollapalooza's coming up. There's a lot in the pipeline coming up. So we will continue covering our festivals as the summer goes on. And then the other thing, piggybacking off of last week really quick, Alix Earle posted a video the other day pole dancing with the audio of You Don't Own Me. So like, don't tell me what to say. Don't tell me what to do. You don't own me. And the caption said, sorry, busy filming this week. So clearly this is her kind of telling us to stop waiting for a response to Alex Cooper until her Netflix reality show comes out, which I'm not gonna lie, this feels like a pretty lame way to approach this. Like, yeah, obviously you want more views in your Netflix show and you want more buzz around it, but like by the time the Netflix show comes out, are we gonna care about this? Like maybe people will, and like I'm sure it'll be exciting to hear about, but I'm just like, just record a TikTok or record a Get Ready With Me or something, or record a podcast episode. Like, why do we have to wait for your Netflix show to come out? It just seems so opportunist, which maybe some people are probably like, slay girl, business opportunity. Like, yeah, she's so smart. But to me, I'm like, girl, put your fucking money where your mouth is. You make so much money. Just post a fucking TikTok. Netflix does not, you want to talk about it, you don't own me? Netflix does not own you. So I'm currently Switzerland in the Alix versus Alix debate because I was leaning Earle. But now I'm like, bitch, get on the internet and post a fucking TikTok. And she won't even do that. So that's the update on Alix versus Alix right now. Cooper versus Earle, as we were calling it last week. But I just think this is stupid. I think it's a dumb way to approach it. And now we have to wait even longer for the response. And like, by the time it comes out, I don't know who's going to care about it anymore. But those are all of our stories piggybacking from last week. Let's get into some stuff coming out this week. Charli xcx making some headlines as she does. So we were talking about last week how we knew something was coming from Charli xcx in the next couple of weeks. She changed her Finsta from 360 Brat to B-sides, and it was just like, that seemed like it was signifying something coming. And then she posted a photo on her main account and then posted it also on the B-sides Finsta account, but that one was a carousel. And she said that me, Alix, who is AG Cook, and Finn, who is Finn Keen, spent 10 days recording. They were in Paris working on an album and like all this stuff. And I just think like the three of them being in the studio obviously is going to set her up for success. I mean, AG Cook and her have worked together. He's been her executive producer for years. Finn Keen has worked on so many of her albums. I mean, Number One Angel, Pop 2, Charlie, Brat, Wuthering Heights. Like, they've been working on Charli projects for years and recently. So I just think the three of them really work well together. So she posted that and we were like, all right, cool. Like, what's coming? And then the next day, she is on the cover of British Vogue talking all about her new album that is going to be a rock album. And now I have my thoughts. The internet obviously has their thoughts. I'm going to give my thoughts in just a second, but I'm going to read through some of the poll quotes and then we'll get into kind of like the nitty gritty of it. So she says, we knew we wanted to go to Paris to do it. We knew it would be this very hectic, rich time, and we like creating in that kind of atmosphere. She goes on to say, I think the dance floor is dead, so now we're making rock music, which this is the poll quote that really has the internet up in flames. So we'll get into this in just a moment and kind of dissect what I think, where I think she's going with this and what I think her mind is set to. She says, if I'd made another album that felt more dance leaning, it would have felt really hard, really sad. It crosses over into how you can dress up who you are and become the ideal fantasy that you want to be in that moment. Everybody is performing in a way. For me, it's fun to flip the form. We know there's going to be people who are bothered by it, but that's fine. So she is buckling down on this idea of like completely switching genres and totally going into a new sound. And when you look at her discography, really just looking at from like, if you look at like Brat into Wuthering Heights and now into whatever the next album is, if she is going into a rock direction, Wuthering Heights is kind of that bridge there. Because if you look at Wuthering Heights, kind of in the grand scheme of her discography, it definitely it sticks out a little bit more than the rest of her project. You know, it's not her typical sound, which makes sense because it's not a Charli xcx album. It is a movie soundtrack album that she created to accompany this movie, which I think the soundtrack fits the vibe of this movie. And, you know, it really does make sense for what her and Emerald Fennell and everything they were trying to bring to life with Wuthering Heights. But when you look at her discography and then put Wuthering Heights, it kind of feels like the perfect bridge, like I said, between Brat and whatever is next. And now, on one hand, I think it's exciting for her to kind of dive into something new. She's been making music for so many years. I mean, she has truly, just because she broke into the mainstream in the last 2 years, that does not discount like the amount of work and effort that she has put into her music over the last decade and a half, almost 2 decades. I feel like she's been making music for almost 20 years now. Like, it's been a long time, maybe more than that. I don't know. But like Charli has definitely, she's not new to this, you know? So like, I'm sure she is a little bit like, all right, I got to change it up. I got to spruce it up. And we see this with all artists, you know, they switch genres, they change things up, but it's more of a how do they do it than like a why do they do it. Like I don't think a Charli xcx rock album is going to sound like a traditional rock album the way that we know it. Like, this is not going to just be a guitar, drum, bass song, you know? Like, there's gonna still be, I imagine at least, there's still gonna be this like AG Cook touch and this Finn Keen touch and like the Charli xcx touch to it. Like, I'm sure we'll get a little auto-tune on it. And I think Charli has a really creative ear of how to make sure a project is still true to her as an artist and not completely off the beaten path, because all of her music not that it all sounds the same, but it can kind of be categorized into the one genre of this like hyper pop, electronic kind of dance music. There's, the songs that there's a few slower ballads. There's some definitely lean more hyper pop, like the Sophie tracks. There's definitely different layers to it. But as a whole, her discography is very cohesive. And like I said, she's been doing this for so long. So when you look at what she's put out in the past over the last 10, 15 years, and now she's this new mainstream kind of artist, she had such a breakthrough moment with Brat. And the question has always been, what do you do after an album like this? Like, you've worked your entire career to have this moment. How do you keep the momentum going? And through the moment, she literally was mocking the idea of this mainstream pop star that she very easily could have become. And on paper, yes, she became a mainstream name, but she's not a mainstream pop artist. She didn't fold to the typical marketing ploys and the typical marketing bullshit. She did Brat and that era very uniquely Charli, which is why it did so well. It was so authentic. And I just don't think everyone's up in arms over this rock album idea. And it's I don't think a Charli xcx rock album is going to sound like an actual rock album. It's going to be a little funky. It's going to have some different vibes to it. I just think we're going to kind of stray away from more of that electronic kind of sound into more guitar focus. But I think it's going to be really unique and really funky is the word that's coming to me right now. That's the word that pops up into my brain. I just think we're going to get a really cool, unique, authentic sound from Charli. Now, though I'm optimistic, cautiously optimistic, for the album. I think it'll be good. Charli's a talented artist. Charli knows what she's doing. And I think it'll still shine through for this. On the flip side, this whole idea of the dance floor is dead. It's a little, you can't have this breakthrough. I mean, you can, but you can't have this breakthrough moment making dancey music and then be oh, actually the dance floor is dead after I came out and had my moment. Oh, I did my thing. I did what I wanted to do. I'm throwing it to the side. Yeah, of course it's Charli. She's very oh, I say whatever. I don't care. And blah, blah, blah. And I get that. And she's very cool girl and very whatever. But I'm the dance floor is very much not dead. Madonna is literally releasing Confession on the Dance Floor Part 2. And there is so many artists creating music that is dance floorable. Now, I will say a lot of that is inspired, Demi Lovato, by Charli xcx's Brat and the success of that. So we've seen a lot of artists kind of dive into this kind of sound. So I understand what she's saying in that retrospect, but I do think completely saying the dance floor is dead and you can't make music, it's a little crazy. I can call it what it is. It's a little wild to be oh, dance floor is dead because I'm not doing pop music anymore. Let's reel it in a little bit because like I said, Madonna's releasing Confession on the Dance Floor. There is definitely music to be danced to. Maybe it's not Charli xcx's music, but even so, her albums that have come out in the past still exist. So those will still be played. We will still be dancing to them. So I do think that was a little bold of her to say, and don't discredit or throw away an entire genre and look that you created for yourself because now you did it, you accomplished it, now you're moving on to the next thing. There's got to be some type of love and respect still for your past works. And it's just you're so cool, girl, I get it. And you're just on to the next thing and can't be bothered and whatever. But it's I don't think that's the right mindset to have going into a new era. I'm not flaming her for it. I'm not people are stoning her and oh, how dare you say it? John Summit's chiming in and all this stuff. And I get it. Yeah, I agree. The dance floor is not dead, but it's I think this is Charli being Charli and trying to just be oh, I don't care. I'm so cool, girl, unbothered, whatever, which it has its perks and it has its ups and its downs. But I think overall it's she's just trying to really separate herself from Brat and then trying to move into this new era without it being too hung up on that, So I'm curious to see what the rest of her career looks like if she is so dance floor is dead because the majority of your discography is dance floor music. And also she's performing at Lollapalooza in 3 months. So are you only going to play your new rock music there? Are you going to do none of your old music? Are you going to do like reimagined versions? I don't know. I'm very, very curious. Something else I'm very curious about actually, and I promise you I'll stop talking about Mother Mary soon, but Charli XCX and Jack Antonoff have not said a word about Mother Mary's album coming out on Friday when they produced 6 out of 7 of the tracks. So very strange that they're choosing to opt out of Mother Mary promo right now. Like FKA Twigs is the only artist involved, obviously in Hathaway, but like the only producer on it that is doing any press for it, which feels really strange. I'm really curious if they're going to post anything about it this coming Friday, or if they're truly just like abandoning Mother Mary as a whole, as a collective. And like, to me, I'm like, what happened? What happened that Charli XCX and Jack Antonoff are not promoting this project that they've worked so hard on for the last 2 years? It just seems very strange to me, especially because they were all very excited for this. It's very strange. I don't know. I'm curious if they're going to post when it goes to theaters nationwide this weekend, but I guess we will have to wait and see. But until then, Charli XCX is telling us to evacuate the dance floor, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay on the dance floor and I'll listen to your music elsewhere, I guess. Moving into our next moment of the week, that was to pop to handle some more magazine cover news. Rhianna is on the cover of W Magazine's Pop issue with baby Rocki, which marks baby Rocki's first public appearance. And I mean, what a way to make an entrance on the cover of W Magazine. Like, that is how Rihanna's daughter should be making her first public appearance. I'm obsessed. So she posted the cover on Instagram today and said, "Cover girls, baby Rocki served something serious on her first cover. Came on set and shut her mama down," which just like, I love watching Rhianna be a mom. I feel like she loves these kids so much. And like now watching her with Rocki and just like the way that they're going to grow up. And like, Rhianna, though she doesn't give us any music, like she does feed us when we need to. And like, she's such a unique character in pop culture, you know, like she really has carved her own way through pop culture and like made a name for herself that is so undeniably iconic, but like she kind of can do whatever she wants. And like, that's exactly what she does, which you got to give credit where credit is due. Also very reminiscent of when her and A$AP were on the cover of British Vogue. I forget when that was. It had to be like 2024, 2023, but it was with RZA. I think that was the first time we ever saw RZA as well. But they did it was either Vogue or British Vogue. No, I'm pretty sure it was British Vogue, but I could be wrong. Don't come at me if I'm wrong, but it was the cover of a Vogue and it was the two of them and RZA. And I think that was the first time we saw him as well. So just really fun that they're like keeping up this tradition. They're like, where is Riot's magazine cover? I don't believe we got one with him, but I digress. I'm not here to, to co-parent these children. But what I am here to do is give Rhianna her flowers. W Magazine always does such a good job with their shoots. They're like very high fashion, very couture, very editorial. These photos are stunning. I'm obsessed. The cover is great. All the photos throughout the article are great. Like, it is just... Rhianna is so made for the camera, and these photos, the outfits, everything is just so well done. And we don't get many things from Rhianna anymore. So when we do get something, it's always like, this is clearly thought out to the T. Everything is so perfect and pristine. I love this shoot. And I love this article even more because Rhianna does not say a word in the article, but so many people come out and give statements about Rhianna and their time working with her and like what they admire about her. A$AP Rocky, SZA, Jonah Hill, Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino, Mariah Carey, Sarah Paulson. Like, so many people came out to give statements about working with Rhianna, and just reading through it, you can just tell how loved and admired she is by her peers and how just respected she is in every retrospect, whether it's from a business perspective, whether it's from her acting career, whether it's from her music, whether it's just as a friend. Like, she is really so loved and admired by not just these people, by so many people. And it was just sweet to read. You know, it was like a nice, in a world where like things are so dark, reading people just like uplifting somebody else was so nice to read. I don't know if that makes sense, but it was just like an uplifting thing. And just seeing so many huge, I mean, Mariah Carey, obviously A$AP Rocky, but like Sarah Paulson, SZA, like so many huge names really coming out and just being like, she is the real deal. There is nobody like her in the industry. Like, it's just a really positive thing to read. And I definitely recommend reading it. And also just like stare at these pictures. Like, this is art. These photos should be hung in a magazine. They are hung in a magazine, my God, hung in a museum. Clearly I'm a little tired today. say. But they truly are. And I just love getting any crumbs from Rhianna, even if it is a W Magazine interview where she doesn't even speak, even if it is a song for the Smurfs movie. You know what? I'll take what I can get these days. Moving on to somebody who is the complete opposite of Rhianna and has given us oh so much this year. Anne Hathaway is People's World's Most Beautiful cover for 2026. And now we often joke that like People magazine doesn't always get it right with their Sexiest Man Alive or their World's Most Beautiful. They got it right for this. I mean, who better than to have the most booked woman in the world, Anne Hathaway, on the cover of this magazine? Like, it aligns perfectly with all the press she's doing. And like People always aligns it with somebody who is very like buzzy and in the press. Last year it was Demi Moore, who obviously fit perfectly with the timeline of The Substance and that. And, you know, it's just like this resurgence of Demi Moore. This is like a resurgence of Anne Hathaway. So just fit perfectly with the PR timeline, perfectly with Anne Hathaway, because she really is like one of the most beautiful women in the entire world. And like, the only other person who could be on the cover of this right now who is as booked and busy as Anne Hathaway is Zendaya. And this is so not Zendaya's vibe in the state that she's in right now. Like, this is just not something that she would want to do. You know, she's very kind of like indie cool girl and doing like Interview Magazine and like A24. Like, People magazine is a little too mainstream, I feel like, for Zendaya right now. So Anne Hathaway is the absolute perfect person for this. And what I thought was cool, they also tapped into 4 other divas who are paying homage to other icons throughout history. So we had Jade, my girl, as Madonna, Megan Maroney as Dolly Parton, Teyana Taylor as Janet Jackson, and Dove Cameron as Cher. Just so fun to see all these people to kind of, you know, come together and like pay homage to these icons who have come before them. And I mean, the 4 of them are all very buzzy right now as well. So it just makes sense. And like People, like I said, sometimes they get it right, sometimes they get it wrong. This feels absolutely correct. But this interview was great. I think Anne, she's been in this industry for so long. She's going on like 2+ decades of being an actress and just like being in the public eye. And she's definitely had her highs and lows. I feel like, you know, there's that whole joke on the internet where like people were so sick of Anne Hathaway, they needed her out of the public eye. Was never me. I could never get enough Anne Hathaway, but I guess to each its own. But she just talks a lot about just, you know, female friendships, her awkward phases, what it's like being a boy mom, you know, her career as a whole. She goes on to say, when I started out, I thought I'd be a better artist if I was really hard on myself. And then turning 40, I just kind of found a different gear. And I was no longer interested in living an awkward life. I was just interested in getting to the fun part, which is exactly like what I feel like we hear from so many people as they age. And like, growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was such this pressure of like, oh my God, once you hit 30, you're dead and, you know, your career's done and you can't do anything. But we've continued to see our parents and like the generation that they grew up with, like, go on to continue to do things. I mean, Madonna is almost 70 years old and she's releasing a part 2 of an album that came out 21 years ago. Like, we are seeing specifically women, like obviously men have kind of always gone on and like done their thing, but like women have really proven that like your life doesn't end at 30. You don't need to get married, have kids, and your life is over. Like, you can continue. I mean, you can do all those things, but you can continue to live your life and live your dreams. And you can start your career at 40 years old. You can start your career at 50 years old. Like, and this goes for everyone, men, women, whoever. But like, it's just so refreshing to see things like this after growing up in an era of the tabloids ripping women apart for Jessica Simpson looking fat when she literally was like a size 6, you know, like there was such like a toxic culture in People magazine. Even like we've come such a long way in media. I feel like, of course, there's always going to be issues and whatever, but like I feel like reading things like this always just reminds me of how far we've come in the media cycle. And like I said, who better to get on this than Anne Hathaway? Like, maybe I'm biased because I'm just obsessed with her, but like, who isn't obsessed with Anne Hathaway? You know, like, it's just, this was an obvious choice to me. She goes on to talk about The Devil Wears Prada, of course, and she says, I loved making the first. I know I was stressed and anxious and all those things, but it's one of the most hilarious experiences ever because of the people that I was with. And it really aligns with like the way that they're pushing for this press tour. This press tour has been killing it. And like, they've really just been pushing the idea of like this core 4 with Andy, Miranda, Emily, and Nigel. Anne Hathaway, Meryl Streep, Emily Blunt, Stanley Tucci. Like, the 4 of them are really coming into this movie as this core 4 group. And like the press that they're all doing, whether it's like Anne and Emily, Anne and Stanley, Stanley and Meryl, Anne and Meryl, like they all just have their own dynamics separately, but also as a whole, they really have this like family unit kind of vibe. And I mean, they wouldn't have all come back together to do this movie if they had a miserable time the first time around. You know, like if they hated doing the first movie, we wouldn't have the sequel to begin with. So it's just been really fun to watch them all 20 years later come back. They've all done such incredible things in their career. And now they're coming back to this movie that I don't know if I was, obviously for like Meryl Streep, it wasn't like the catalyst of her career, but like this is a movie that is so pivotal to pop culture and to anybody who is like my age or, you know, plus or minus 5 or so years. Like it's such a pivotal movie in all of our lives. So for them to be coming out and doing this these 20 years later and so celebratory and so exciting, it's just, reading this makes me so happy. It's so exciting. And I cannot wait to see The Devil Wears Prada 2. It comes out very soon, which perfectly leads us into our next story of The Devil Wears Prada 2 premiere happening last night in New York City. I mean, we knew it would be star-studded. Meryl Streep and Hathaway on a red carpet is already star-studded. But then we get Lady Gaga, we get Paige DeSorbo and Hannah Berner, who make a cameo in the movie, which I'm so excited for. And then we also get Dylan Sprouse and Barbara Palvin, which is crazy to me. I mean, Barbara Palvin obviously makes sense. She's a model. And like Winnie Harlow is there. So many models were on this carpet. I'm assuming they're all in the movie for some aspect. But if you didn't see the news about this, their house was almost robbed and Dylan held the intruder at gunpoint until the police came. Like fully this crazy story. It happened on Saturday night. And like this person, I read that apparently this guy has like tried to break into their house or other people's houses before, but Dylan like fully grabbed this guy, tackled him to the ground, held him at gunpoint until the police got there and like protected him and Barbara and like just made sure everything was safe, which is like such a traumatizing thing to do, to then show up on Monday in New York. This is in LA. To then show up on Monday in New York doing a movie premiere is so wild to me, but they seem like they're in good spirits about it. They said that they're dealing with trauma with jokes and fun, which I mean, don't we all have to deal with trauma that way? Like if you don't laugh, you'll cry. So I was very shocked to see them on the carpet, not because I get why they were on the carpet, but I was shocked from like a moral standpoint that they were so willing to do press 48 hours after Dylan Sprouse held somebody at gunpoint to protect him and his wife. Like just crazy. But again, I understand why they were there. Of course, Anne Hathaway looked stunning. Meryl Streep looked stunning. Emily Blunt looked gorgeous. Like they all just looked so good. I think Anne Hathaway's dress is one of my favorite looks she's ever worn. That sculpted silhouette and the perfect red to match like the shoe in the logo. Meryl was like so Miranda Priestley coded. It was perfect. And what I thought was actually interesting about Meryl's outfit is for the majority of the press tour, other than I think they were in Tokyo, every other stop, she's done a pantsuit, which has obviously been very like, you know, powerful woman kind of vibe. And like definitely a pantsuit makes a statement. So for her to go like this, and again, this is without, I believe it was Tokyo. Yeah, it was Tokyo. For her to go like this cape route, these gloves, then she took it off. She had this like leopard or cheetah print coat underneath. Like she saved this Miranda Priestley coded look for this New York world premiere. And I absolutely fucking loved it. It was very high fashion, very runway. Like she just looked great. They all looked fantastic. And again, it's just so exciting to see them all together and promoting this movie. And this really feels like such a huge moment in pop culture. You know, this is like when we used to have like world premieres in the early 2000s where like the entire world is watching. They live streamed it on Hulu. Like this is such a huge moment. And I feel like we haven't had a moment like this. With Wicked and Barbie, yeah, we did. But like this just for some reason, it feels so much more like Hollywood, if that makes sense. Like there's a social campaign, there's digital campaigns, of course. But for some reason, this just feels so like va-va-voom and like exciting, you know. It just feels so, maybe it's the Meryl Streep power and like the Anne Hathaway star power and even Emily Blunt, Stanley Tucci. Like there really are, this is like a Mount Rushmore of such highly prestigious people in their field and like so well respected and everything, that maybe it just like pulls out this like star quality for the movie. I don't know. It feels different. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You guys tell me. I also love the fact that it was a different type of red carpet. It was a runway. So obviously, literally the magazine title and just like the model fashion world of it all, the entire carpet was like a runway as if they were at like New York Fashion Week. So they're just getting so creative. It's so much fun. They are spending so much money on this premiere, like on this entire press tour, really. Like I can't even imagine the amount of commas in the check of this press tour budget. Like it's got to be insane. But you know what? fine by me. Like, if this is the only thing keeping us happy right now, like in a world that is so dark, give it to me. I'm loving this. Some of the big news that came out of the premiere, you know, it wasn't really a premiere that, you know, something else about this press tour pivoting. There's like no drama around it, you know, with Wuthering Heights, with Wicked, there's drama, you know, Wuthering Heights, it was the Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi affair potential, which never came to fruition, but you know, it was all of that. And then the issues with the casting or whatever. There was a lot of like dark clouds hanging over it. With Wicked, it was talking about Ariana and Cynthia's relationship and talking about Ariana and Ethan and their weight. And there was like negative things around it. There's nothing bad coming out of Devil Wears Prada 2. Like, there was not a single negative piece of press, a single negative, oh, they were hard to work with on set. Like, I think there's just so many positive things pointed towards this movie. It's just like so refreshing to have something so positive and so exciting, you know, happening in Hollywood without the like, oh, I can't wait for that movie. But, oh, I can't wait for this interview. But did you see, like, you know, it's just so like everything's positive, everything's shiny, everything's just fantastic. And I cannot wait for this movie. But something that is a little dramatic that came out of this premiere, allegedly they cut out Sydney Sweeney's cameo. And you know what I say about that? You made your bed in your good jeans, now sleep in it. I have no remorse for Sydney Sweeney over this. I do not care in the slightest. This is just rumored. No one knows if this actually is true or not. You know, only a handful of people have seen the movie. So I imagine this is true, but you know, like, it's what you get, girl. You made your bed. Now sleep in it. But again, this is such a huge moment for culture. And like for Sydney Sweeney being cut out of it to be like the worst news story to come out of it, like that's not a bad news story. That's like admirable for them to do, to cut somebody out who made a very crazy statement through a campaign. Like, understood. Just what a huge moment for culture, truly. Like, this is so exciting. We have one more stop on the press tour left in London. I imagine sometime this week or next week. Just very exciting. And I don't have tickets to see it yet, actually, but I will see it opening weekend, I'm sure. If not, I'll see it that week. And I cannot wait for this movie. And moving into the final moment of the week that was too pop to handle, going from something oh so positive to something oh so dark. David, the singer, was charged with murder of a girl whose remains were found in his car. So I don't think I even talked about this story when it broke back. This had to be like September, October-ish, because it was right when I started on the new team at work, because it's been like a story that we've been following very closely at work, just for whatever, like we're just all kind of intrigued with it. But it felt so dark and so like, ooh, like this is a 14-year-old girl who was found cut up in the back of a Tesla or the front of a Tesla. I don't know where their trunk is. I've never been in one. Well, I've been in one, but I don't own one. But it was like, I don't know how to cover this without it feeling icky. But now we've kind of had some things tied up, and I feel like the story is kind of coming not to an end, but to, you know, a good point where we can chat about it. So to bring you up to speed, David, he is kind of like a trendy TikTok artist, and he's been having like a moment, you know, he's been kind of on the up and up, and the remains of a 14-year-old girl named Celeste were found in his car. Now, he was on tour when they found the remains, so he had to cancel the rest of his tour. Obviously, he canceled all press and everything, and like had to fly home to be like, what the fuck do you mean? What's going on? And this investigation has been going on for months. He's kind of been obviously very under the radar, and like they've been trying to figure out what happened. They've been piecing it together and trying to figure out like, when did it happen? When was she murdered? And they were trying to investigate like, how long was she in the car for? And like, could he have been home when it happened? Did he do this? Was it like, yes, it's his car, but was somebody driving it while he wasn't home? Because I believe in his house, there's like many people who live in the house. So it was like, was somebody watching his car while he was gone on tour, and were they driving it, and they responsible? So there was a lot of ifs, as any murder case gets to. And then of course the internet does what the internet does, and they're like investigating on them on their own, and they're going through his old TikToks and old Twitch streams and trying to like find any time they were together to piece it together and, you know, be like FBI agents on the case. There was also like rumors swirling around that she was threatening him, that she was going to blackmail him and announce that he was sleeping with an underage girl and like ruin his career. So like that was some motive or something. You know, there was a lot of things going around about this case, and it's all led to last week when he was arrested and charged with murder. He was also charged with continuous sexual abuse of a child under the age of 14 and with the unlawful mutilation of human remains. And the cherry on top is that he pleaded not guilty to everything. So it's just like, this is heavy. And like, this is a 14-year-old girl we're talking about, you know, any human being, this is so heartbreaking, but like 14 is so young, and they've been like tied together since she was 12. So like, this is just, it's so heartbreaking. I mean, this happening to anybody is heartbreaking, but like, this is a girl who was 14 years old. Her whole life was ahead of her. And now there's just so much to this, you know. It's like, was he home when this happened? Like, was he even in the state of California when she was killed and her body was cut up? Did he hire somebody to do it? Like, was this just like a freak accident that somebody did and is trying to frame him for it? Like, there's just so many ways this could go. I think pleading not guilty to everything is going to hurt him in the long run, because there is confirmation that they were together to some aspect. So maybe pleading not guilty to the murder and the mutilation of a human remains, but like, there is some truth to you being with this underage girl, which obviously is like not an easy pill for anybody to swallow, but it's like similar to Sydney Sweeney, you made your bed, now sleep in it. It's like, you know, there's just a lot to this, and like, I can't imagine a world where like he's not at least involved in what happened to her, you know. Like, I can't imagine a world where he didn't at least know it was happening or orchestrate it or like doing it himself. Like, even saying it just like freaks me out because it's such a wild thing. But like, the fact that her remains were found, and not even just like her body, like she was chopped up in his Tesla. Like, that is crazy. And like, this story has kind of like come and gone over the last couple of months as new things come out. But like, this is like the biggest thing. And now I guess we kind of have to wait and see like where they go with it. He pleaded not guilty, like I said, and it's just, this is a crazy, crazy story. And I'm very curious to see like how it all kind of unfolds and like what other evidence they have and what they're able to do to kind of prove him guilty, or, you know, what his lawyers have to help his case and whatever. Like, just a crazy story. And I like haven't stopped thinking about it, honestly, because it's such a disheartening story. But keep you guys updated on that as more things come out. But again, I just didn't want to like keep updating about this like dead 14-year-old girl if I didn't have to, but now seemed like the right time to bring it to the table. But let's turn this boat around, because that got dark really quick, and let's dive into our TV recap. RuPaul's Drag Race Season 18 has officially come to an end. We have a newly crowned America's Drag Superstar, and we'll get to that in just a moment. This was a really good finale. I don't know. I had a lot of fun watching this. I thought it was fun. I also kind of liked it being on the main stage. Like, I know they've done it in theaters in the past and whatever, but like, it was kind of like, felt like on the main stage. And they've done this the last 3 seasons, I want to say, maybe 4. I know Nymphia and Saphira were on the main stage. I know Anya, who was against Anya last year? Was it Anya and Jules in the final lip sync? Anya and whoever was the other top 2 was on the main stage, but I don't remember who on season 15. No, that was Sasha Colby. She was, I don't know. Regardless, I like when they do it on the main stage. I think it's fun and add like a homey feeling to it. These performances from these 3 queens, they were great. Like, this reminded me that like we had a very solid top 3, and like I really was happy with anybody winning. I mean, Darlene Mitchell had just been like cracking me up the entire time, and she made it funny until the end. I thought Mikey's performance was great, which we know Mikey is a great performer, so that's no shocker there. But Nene Coco kind of took it for me. Like, Nene's performance, the way that it kind of evolved and like kept going, and it was so good. Like, all of them did a great job, but for me, Nene Coco had the strongest performance. And then, of course, we had Miss Miley Cyrus getting the She Already Done Had Hers his award. Editing Andrew popping in. I meant the Giving Us Lifetime Achievement Award. My apologies. I got my gay words mixed up. I got like emotional watching Miley's like presentation when they were like talking about like all the letters of her name and being like, M stands for blah, blah, blah. I stands for blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh my God, like that's family. Like, Miley Cyrus is my girl. You guys know this, but like I was literally tearing up watching it, and like knowing how big of a fan Miley is of Drag Race and just drag in general. Like, she is so with the culture and like been such an advocate for LGBTQIA plus rights and like just has always been on the right side of herstory. It's so well deserved. And she is in such great company. I mean, Bob Mackie, Elvira, like she is just, it's what we love to see. Liza Minnelli, like this feels correct for Miley to get to the award. And I am just so thrilled to see her getting celebrated at any moment. I feel like it's been such a huge year and change for Miley. And I just hope this trajectory never stops because I love seeing Miley Cyrus win. Miss Congeniality goes to Jane Don't. I don't disagree with her deserving to win this because I think she honestly should have won the crown. But I was like, I don't know if I think she's most congenial, but I do think she does deserve to win this title after she was sent home. Like this is a very fair judgment, but I don't know if I would say she's most congenial, but she did like, she was willing to help when people asked for it. I thought Vito was going to get it, honestly. I feel like Vito was very helpful to people this season, but I do think Jane Don't deserve to win something. So I'm very happy that she got this because, again, I think Jane Don't was robbed. Unfortunately, we do find out that Darlene Mitchell is not making it to the top 3. And I did think the top 2 were going to be Darlene and Mikey, and we were going to see like a really silly performance from Darlene and a really like cunty, true drag, like, you know, traditional performance from Mikey, and then Mikey ended up winning. So I did always foresee Mikey winning the season, but I didn't see Mikey and Nene in the top 2. And Nene was Darlene was my favorite, but out of the two, like out of Nene and Mikey, I did like Nene better for the rest of the season, which I just spoiled who wins the lip sync, but they lip synced to Every Girl You Ever Loved, which fantastic. I thought Nene's little purse puppet was hilarious. And she's come so far this competition. And I really think she found a new path for herself. And like, I genuinely did not think she was going to make top 2. I thought she was going to be eliminated top 3. And then it was going to be Darlene and Mikey. But you know what? I was happy with any of them, truly. This was a really Switzerland top 3 for me. I was happy anywhere, but I do understand why Mikey ended up becoming America's Next Drag Superstar. I think Mikey just really showed so much growth this season and showed so many different, I mean, she won the last 3, like the last 3 maxi challenges. Like she's just like undoubtedly showed so many different sides of herself and so many different talent that she holds that like, this does make so much sense. And like I said, after Jane went home, it was kind of like, this is anybody's game. Like, I don't know who's taking this crown because to me, I thought Jane Don't was a shoo-in for the crown. She wasn't even my favorite or my front runner, but like, I can admit when I think talent is, you know, somebody else's talent is better than somebody else, but I still like somebody else because I think they're more fun or whatever. Like I liked Darlene and Nene more than I liked Jane Don't, but Jane Don't was definitely, in my book at least, more talented. So I thought Jane was going to win. So once she got eliminated, I was like, you know what? Anybody wins this crown, I am happy because fair game, whatever. But yeah, another season of Drag Race in the books. I'm very happy to be adding Mikey Meeks into our Drag Race winner cards. And now we have All-Star starting in 3 weeks. May 8th, I believe it starts. So we will be recapping that, of course. I believe they're doing the brackets again from what I've heard. So I liked the brackets last season. I know it's controversial, but I enjoyed it because we got to get more screen time with the queen. So sit tight for a couple weeks, no Drag Race. But then May 8th, we will be recapping All-Stars. What is this, season 12 of All-Stars? Did I just make that up? I don't know. We've got a lot of All-Star seasons. We've got a lot of Drag Race seasons, girls. Like I think they're about to start, they're filming or they're about to start filming 19 already. Like they just don't stop with Drag Race. It's really fucking crazy. But that is another season of RuPaul's Drag Race in the books. So crazy. I feel like we just started recapping it last week, but we are halfway through April and the season did start in January, which does mean we have gone almost 5 months of 2026, which makes me feel kind of sick. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, moving into our next TV recap, I did my homework and I caught up on Real Housewives of Rhode Island. And you guys, this franchise, it's so good. It is true reality television gold and I cannot get enough. Liz and Kelsey, I feel like we're a big storyline on this episode and of episode 3 and it kind of carries over. They had that big blowout fight at the Studio 54 party. And I think the fight definitely spiraled in a way that it wouldn't have had they not all been drinking and, you know, all together and things were heightened. And there was the argument with Joella and Rula. So like, they were just like heightened emotions at this party to begin with. So I think the fight spiraled out of control, but I think the way that they handled it on the boat was really mature and honestly very admirable. The way that they were able to like have a civil conversation, talk about it, admit where they were both wrong, and then kind of keep the ball rolling. And I get where Kelsey's coming from. I understand she had some trauma with Dino, but that is Liz's like best friend, right-hand man. You know, of course, it's the drama with them, and that's kind of how it all started. But like, I understand where they're both coming from, and I understand why this hit them in a way that it did. But I was really impressed with the way that they handled this. I thought it really spoke to their character and the way that they care about each other. And even Liz calling her little sister at the end, like this is, you know, this is a friendship that isn't just like for TV. It feels like they actually want to be friends, and friends have those tough conversations, and sometimes they don't go the way that you want to. So I was genuinely really impressed with the way that they handled that. That it was a really beautiful storyline for these housewives. We also had the scene at lunch when Alicia has the girls over, and then her mom and her aunt show up. How do I get invited to Alicia's house for a glass of wine with her mom, and her aunt? Because like I know that would heal something in me. Like I would have the time of my life having a glass of wine and having some pizza chips and having, you know, some saltines with Alicia, her mom, and her aunt. It would just be the time of my life. It would heal something in me. But obviously the elephant in the room at this lunch is the Rula of it all. And like, it's clear that everybody knows about the drama with her and her husband and this like alleged affair. So like that does kind of break my heart that like she has to deal with this everywhere she goes. And you can tell like it's like a scarlet letter that she wears for something that she didn't even do. Like her husband's the one who cheated and she's the one who takes all the shit for it. The preview for next week's episode looked fucking crazy that we're going to see him literally cheating on camera basically and him like refuse to filming or whatever. Like I feel for Rula and I hate that she's so guarded to these women, and she's clearly, especially with Joellen, like she's clearly speaking out of trying to protect her sanity. You know, it's really sad to watch that she is so blinded and protecting herself and her marriage when like her husband's out doing whatever the fuck he wants and the entire town is talking about her affair. You know, it's sad to watch, but I hope that we get to see kind of a redemption era for Rula. I hope we get like the Bronwyn Newport edit of Rula as we go forward. Like now we're seeing Bronwyn and Todd get a divorce and like whatever. Like I hope we watch Rula finish out this marriage on camera, and like I hope this is like a divorce storyline. I don't wish divorce for anybody, but like if her husband cheated and is continuing to do it on television without any shame, it's like, girl, we gotta wrap it up, Rula. Like we gotta call it what it is. And then finally we see this like first of all, the whole biking situation with Rula making these margaritas on the bike as they're biking through the woods. Fucking hysterical. She gained so many brownie points for me there. And these girls are just so fun. Like I want to hang out with these housewives so bad because they just seem like such a good time. But then we see Rosie start like meddling and Liz and Alicia and like that all coming up. And I just don't think I like Rosie much. It seems like she's really always putting her nose in other people's business. And I don't think it's in a way where like Joellen is also in other people's business, but I think Joellen does it in a way where like she genuinely wants to help and like she's doing it not because she doesn't like the drama, because of course she enjoys the drama a little bit like everybody does, but like I think Rosie approaches it in a way to kind of like stir something up, where Joellen does it to be like, hey, I tried to warn you, but if you don't want to take my advice, like, sorry if drama starts, like I tried to tell you kind of thing. You know, there's two different ways to approach it. And I just think the way that Rosie approaches drama, I don't really vibe with it, but I'll keep, you know, I'm gonna keep watching the franchise. I'm fucking obsessed with it, but I'll give Rosie a few more episodes to be like, but I don't know. Right now, I'm not vibing with her completely, but I can't get enough of this franchise. I think it's fucking incredible, and it's getting rave reviews everywhere. So I know it's not just me like excited about a new TV show. It is so good, and I cannot wait for more. That is our TV recap, though. As a reminder, I am recapping Euphoria Season 3 on YouTube Shorts and on my personal TikTok. So if you are interested in my Euphoria Season 3 thoughts, you can always find those on my TikTok or on our YouTube channel right here at Pop to Handle. But that means we have made it to the final segment of this week's episode. We have made it to my yes and my mess. My yes being something I am loving and my mess being something I am not loving. And you guys know the drill by now. We always start on a high note. And my yes this week is Hacks, this new season. Though I am heartbroken that Hacks is ending after this season, we're only 2 episodes in, it has already been gold. It has been so incredible. They are wasting truly no time with this storyline. They are moving it along at such a perfect pace where like they're not wasting any time. The characters are developing within each episode. And like, it's just, I know it's ending and I know we're coming to the end and it is wrapping up, but it's like, I'm okay with this show ending, similar to Schitt's Creek, where like I never wanted Schitt's Creek to end, but I admire when you know when to stop something. It feels like the way that they're going to end it with these characters will be the correct way, and we're going to see a really great character arc for all of them. This season has been fantastic. If you were not watching, just watch this show. It is so fantastic, from the writing to the acting to the character development to just the stupid comedic moments in it. It is truly fantastic. I cannot get enough, and I am so sad that it's ending, but I trust Hannah Einbinder will end it in the truly in the most perfect way possible. And I am just so thrilled to be alive at the same time as Hacks airing. And yeah, it is great. You should all be watching it. It is truly fantastic television. And switching gears to my mess this week is Caitlyn Jenner. I believe Caitlyn Jenner has been my mess before, and if not, you can just assume that she's like one of my blanket statement messes. Like, there's some people who are always going to be a mess to me, and that is like Donald Trump, Caitlyn Jenner, Elon Musk, Justin Timberlake. Those are like the big four, I would say, like my Mount Rushmore. But like Caitlyn Jenner, always on my shit list. And not only did she post a video complaining about Donald Trump's new policy making her passport come back with an M on it for male when she is clearly transitioned to female, that was still not enough for her to be like, wow, I voted for this. I'm wrong. She is doubling down on her vote for Donald Trump and is understanding, she says, as to this new thing, and is trying to work it out and figure out how to get an F on her passport for female, when that's not going to happen, babe. Like, that's not, you're not exempt from this. And this is the thing. Trump supporters thought that they were exempt from his policies. We saw it with a lot of the Latinas for Trump, where they were like, oh, he's not going to do this to me. And now they're getting deported and their ICE is going after them. And like, we're seeing all the gays for Trump, who now some states are throwing gay marriage into the conversation and like trying, it's like, you voted for this. You knew what was happening. Why were you shocked that your passport is not coming back with your proper gender on it after you have transitioned? There's something else I want to point out. Every single person who voted for Kamala and for every liberal or Democrat, like who is reporting on the Caitlyn Jenner story, none of us are misgendering her. And I think that really speaks to the difference between Democrats, Republicans in 2026. Like, Democrats, Republicans, by definition, is not what it means today. Like, now Republican is tied to MAGA, which MAGA and Republican are two very different things. I want to make that very clear that I know that. But in today's day and age, Republican is just kind of a tainted word. And there's something very loud to be said about the way that everyone reporting on Caitlyn Jenner's passport incident is still properly gendering her, because it's not hard to respect somebody's pronouns even if you don't agree with their political standpoint, because human beings and politics should not be in the same conversation. Like, somebody's gender and somebody's sexual being and somebody's race should have nothing to do with their politics, yet we live in hell. We live in hell. But yeah, good luck traveling, Caitlyn Jenner, I guess. Hope you're happy that you voted for this. Oh my God, it is just something else. Oh my God, did you guys see, normally I end now, but I'm going to keep going because it's my show. Did you guys see Starbucks and ChatGPT? Did you fucking see that you can now order your Starbucks through ChatGPT and tell Chat, hey, I want something vanilla and this and that, order vanilla latte. But no, you can go to ChatGPT now and ask, what should I order from Starbucks? And then, so easy, so quirky, haha, you can order it straight through ChatGPT, which if you need ChatGPT to tell you what to order from Starbucks, you don't need a coffee, you need a lobotomy. You need to have your brain fucking checked, because why can't you look at a menu and pick what you want? Let me stop. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you guys liked what you heard and you're listening to us as a podcast, please go ahead and leave me a 5-star rating. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and hit subscribe, drop a comment, hit like, you know the vibes. If you would like some extra moments of the week that were just too pop to handle in between podcast episodes, head over to my Substack at toopoptohandle.substack.com, or I will just have it linked down below, but you can subscribe to my newsletter and get weekly pop culture moments delivered directly to your inbox every single weekend, as well as some extra fun little pop culture tidbits. I like to throw in some extra posts and, you know, this and that, whatever. So subscribe to our Substack so you never miss a beat. I talked about Zayn and Louis on the Substack this weekend, Ariana Grande teasing her new album, and Zara Larsson announcing her remix album. So there's always some fun little pop culture tidbits there. And it's a fun little community we have on Substack. So if you are a Substack reader who came to the podcast, thank you. If you are a podcast listener that turned to a Substack subscriber, thank you. I love this little pop culture family that we're building at Too Pop to Handle. It's exactly what I've always dreamt of. And so it's very, very fun. If all of that is not enough, you can always follow me on my socials, either at Andrew Nucatola or at Too Pop to Handle across all platforms. And I think that's everything. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. All right. Well, with that, I will catch you guys next week. Have a fabulous rest of your week. Bye.